Hello everyone, this is Shrikar here, and today we'll be talking about how to build an app like Yikyak. This is a multi-part tutorial and today is the first part of it. In this tutorial we'll talk about how to build the interface like what you see here, wherein it will show you all the yaks which are or yak messages which are around you. So to get started, let's fire up Xcode and create a single view application. Delete out the single view controller which comes up like default with the main storyboard. Next we will go ahead and find a table view controller, drag it onto the main storyboard, make it as the initial root view controller. Also one more thing is let's go ahead and add it, embed it in navigation view controller. Go to editor, embed in, and then navigation controller. Next what we need to do is let's go ahead and just increase the height of this cell. uh, Drag in a UI table view, the UI label, from the object library onto the cell and align it as like this. Let's say building yak clone in Swift. Next go ahead and drag another label which will show us how many minutes ago this message was posted. Similarly, drag another label which will tell us how many replies are there. Make sure they are aligned for replies. Then go ahead and drag two UI buttons. Button, and let's put it here. Let's go ahead and change the size to something like let me say 40-30. Also, let's go ahead and increase the cell a bit. Go to the attribute inspector, remove this button. One more thing I forgot to tell is that I already have the icons for the up and down arrow. Just make sure you can find any of these free icons and then add it to your asset library. Then let's go ahead to the button and change the default image to up arrow. Hold on Alt and click on this button. When you hold on Alt, you could just copy it. Make sure you change the image for the other one from up to down arrow. Next drag in a UI label again, add it to the cell like this, the center. Hold command, click on all these three buttons, make sure we just move it to the right. Also click on all three buttons again and click on this the pin icon here and unclick this constraints to margin and add a constraint of 10 pixels from the right. Add three constraints. Now we have got it correctly. Now let's go ahead and add one more constraint to this label. Click on the align icon and let's make it as vertical center in the container. Add one constraint and then click on this button. Let's give it some constraint to the top margin. Hold control, drag from this button to the top content view, say top space to the container margin. Similarly, hold control, drag from this icon here to the bottom content view, say bottom space to the container margin. Now we have given auto layout constraints to all these three. Let's go ahead and change to like 25. Also Let's go ahead and give a size of 40. Make it align in the center, this label. That looks better. One more thing, what we need to do is we need to give auto layout constraint for all these three labels. Hold control and drag from the left, from this UI label to the left, content view, say leading space to the container margin. Similarly, control drag from this label to the top, say it as top space to the container margin. And then one more thing is control drag from this label to the right to this button and say horizontal spacing. Next, let's go ahead and give some auto layout constraints for these two labels here at the bottom. Similarly, control drag from this label to the left, content view leading space to the container margin. Control drag to the bottom space. Here, same thing, bottom space. And control drag from this label to this label, say horizontal spacing. Now that looks good. Let's go ahead and run it. And let's see what will happen. Let's give it a couple of seconds. The simulator should start soon. We don't see anything. Okay, I think I know the reason why. Let's go to this new project and to the IKEA and then create a new file, which will be a custom table view controller. Click on next. Let's say it as custom table view, not cell, but your table view controller. Custom table view controller, hit next. That's good. Go ahead and create it. Finish. Now this is what it is. Let's go ahead and change the number of sections to 1 and the number of rows in the section, to like, let's say like 3 cells. Let's go to the main storyboard. Click on this icon here, table view controller. Let's go ahead and make it as custom table view controller. Let's go ahead and run it again. See some data now. Okay, now you can see that there is an exception here, and as you see it says must return a cell for row at index path. That's correct. I actually forgot to implement that function. So let's go to the custom table view controller. This is the function which is expecting cell for row at index path, and this reuse identifier is what we have. My cell, let's name it as my cell. Go to the main storyboard. This my cell, what we are giving here, should be the same identifier which we use for identifying the cell in the main storyboard. So if you click on this cell here, let's go to the attribute inspector. This is the reuse identifier. We need to give it as my cell and run it again. Now what is the issue? Let's see. It says unable to dequeue a cell with identifier my cell, must register a nib or a class for identifier or connect a prototype cell in the storyboard. That's weird. Clear command clean. Click on the main storyboard. Let's go here and then click on this. It's a custom table view controller. That's correct. And this cell is UI table view cell. That's correct. And custom my cell, that should actually work. Otherwise we need to anyway customize. Yeah, there you go. But for some reason I see that these auto layout constraints are not working as expected. So what we can do is, let's go ahead and reset and try adding the constraints again. Click on this icon here, resolve auto layout constraints, and then say clear constraint for those three icons. With those three elements selected, click on the pin button again, and let's give it a 10 width to the right, add constraints. Then click on the same resolve autolet constraint icon, update frames. Okay, I messed up. Command Z. We need to give the height, the top constraint as well, like I mean the height to the tops content view. Click on control drag from this button to the top. Hold on. Control drag from here till the top space. Similarly, you need to do this vertical spacing. Give the bottom spacing. With these three selected, let's click on update frames. That's better. Run it. There you go. This layout looks a lot similar to what we have seen here, at least the first pass. Something like this. We have a message, yak, and then we have the counter, how many times it was upvoted or downvoted, and we have like even a placeholder for how many times somebody replied to that yak. Next thing what we need to do is we can just adjust some height because it's way too much. Similarly, we can just adjust it. Come on. Command click on these icons and use the up arrow to move as much as you want. Yes, that is better. Then change the height what we had, that is better. Then let's go ahead and update these three. Click on the resolve alert icon, update constraints. That should work. Let's go ahead and give it a try again. That's a lot better. One more thing what we need to do is we need to put a segmented control at the top. Let's go ahead and drag the segmented control to the top. Let's say it as, let's look at how it is in the icon here, new and hot. It's fine. Let's make it as new, and then this one as hot. One more thing is they have an icon for creating a new message. So let's drag a bar button item and add it to the navigation controller here. Click on this, make it custom, click on change from custom to compose. There you go. Let's go ahead and run the application now. We should see something like this. This looks a lot better. You know what, I was thinking I have some flux enabled. Let me disable it until run dry so that you can get the clear color. That's better. Let's go ahead and close, run it again. Now you should see hot and everything else looks okay to me. The one more thing what we can do is in iOS 7 they introduced a new API called UI appearance API. With UI appearance API you could basically customize the appearance of many instances of a particular class like navigation bar and the tab bar. So what we can do is let's go to the app delegate and we can add the code for customizing the navigation bar and tab bar. So here we get an instance like instance of the UI navigation bar. Then we let's change the color to a light shade of green. Similarly for tab bar, we will change the bar tint color to green and the actual tint color to white. Now let's go ahead and run the application. If you run the application now, we see that it has taken a slightly greener shade. But these segmented control and the bar button item has the default color. So we can go ahead and change that in the main storyboard. Um, Click on this. At the bottom here you can see the tint color as default. Go ahead and change it to white. Similarly, we can do the same thing for the bar tint color to white. Let's go ahead and run it one more time. And this looks a lot better. One more thing what we can do is we can just go ahead and change the font as well. Go click on the label, go to the font button, change, go to customs, make it veneer. And same thing for this. Click on the button, custom, make it as veneer. And for these two, let's use what was provided by the operating system. Let's make it as footnote. And similarly for this, click on the icons, use the footnote. Go ahead and run it. There you go. So we have a good layout built, and in the next part we'll basically embed this whole UI into a tab bar controller, as well as provide functionality for creating a new message. That's it for today, guys. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any questions or any other feedback. Thank you.